Hello, welcome to Am I Neurodivergent, my unexpected autism and ADHD year. Chapter 20, week 20, recapping the highs and lows of processing a late diagnosis of neurodivergence. In last week's video, I looked at autistic fawning, what it is, why we do it, the overlap with autistic masking and camouflaging, trying to over accommodate, compensate, fly under the radar, appear normal, fit in. The week before that, I looked at assertiveness and communicating more clearly and calmly. This week's video, I think, is going to be one of my slightly weirder ones, at least for some people, partly because of where I was in my own journey around 5 months in, partly in response to a couple of comments and emails I've had from people recently about my videos so far and what it is I'm trying to say and communicate with this video series, which all feels quite synchronistic to do a video on this now. So I'm calling this episode a Neurodivergent Postcard from the Future, Part 1. I hope you stick with it, even if it seems a bit boring in the first bit. I've mapped out some bullets and I'm going to try and get to some hopefully good stuff by the end of this. Where I was in my life 20 weeks into this journey, at work, I'd been placed into what's called a redeployment pool in my organisation, and I was kind of in limbo again, which was frustrating, but gave me a bit of what next thinking time to reflect on the way my life had been kind of flipped on its head in quite a short period of time after realising I'd just been undiagnosed neurodivergent and not weird and broken all this time in my early 40s. It was during this time I first started thinking about doing something positive and proactive with all the information I was soaking up on autism and neurodivergence. I still hadn't realised I had ADHD yet, as well as being autistic at this point in. That desire to do something positive and useful with the new information eventually became this YouTube channel, but it went through a lot of what if permutations first before I got here. Looking back at my journals and notes, some of the things I was reading at this point, for example, how catastrophically the UK government underfunds mental health support, how badly Ukrainian refugees on the autism spectrum were struggling with relocation, some articles in the Spectrum newsletter about what was being called the broad autism phenotype present in families of diagnosed autistic kids, and just how prevalent quote unquote invisible neurodivergence was in society, and how I was still struggling really badly with feeling kind of gaslit and misled by society, or missed by society for 40 odd years. Things I'd struggled with and started to burn out over, and how many untold others must be in a similar position to me, but not even know there's a reason behind why they feel the way they do. I knew then, having learned this about myself, I wanted to do something to bring this more to the surface and kind of wave a flag that this is real and this is huge, and for whatever reason this is being broadly ignored, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do or how to start doing it. Before I landed on these YouTube videos, I started writing a book, I started posting on autistic forums, I started formulating an idea for an interactive web platform based on project and program management where neurodivergent voices could come together with our quote-unquote outside-the-box thinking to propose ideas and solutions for apparently intractable problems, both global and local, as a kind of global agora advocacy platform. But I was having too many ideas and was getting overwhelmed and couldn't generate any momentum for any of them. My whole life, I've had what I think are great ideas for things, and I start so many things, but I can never ever finish them. Hello, ADHD. So doing a series of videos about the journey and the thought process seemed like something I could create in bite-sized chunks, rather than spending so long trying to perfect something that can probably never be perfected and end up losing confidence in the project and myself and letting it all fizzle out, like everything I've ever tried to do previously to make a difference, both pre and post diagnosis. starting things in the first place is hard too. Hello, autistic inertia. But I really strongly felt this wasn't just something for me to grapple with, it was something for the world to grapple with, quite frankly. There are millions upon millions of neurodivergent people who don't know they're neurodivergent, struggling through life, and it breaks my heart, and still does, to know this is happening to so many people every day, being forced down this narrow tunnel with no windows. So I started these videos to try to process my journey by talking about it out loud and forcing myself to kind of arrange things thematically, and B, trying to work out as I went where I wanted to take things and if I could start to help make a difference, even if just to a few people, to make some of us and me, selfishly, and feel a bit less alone in working all this out. So this is what these are, and this is what this video series is. So that's my past thinking, but this also ties in really well to the present and a few comments I've had on my recent videos along the lines of who am I and what am I trying to do with these? And also really useful challenges to me personally, like, am I a humble victim of a cruel neurotypical world looking for compassion, empathy, and understanding? Or am I an angry, aspirational advocate looking to make change? And it's a fair challenge. I'm conscious I can come across as both, and I think I can oscillate between the two because my journey so far has been and continues to be an oscillation between the two. And honestly, I don't really know what I'm trying to achieve with these videos, whether it's changing neurotypical attitudes and understanding towards neurodivergent minds, or whether it's a rallying call for neurodivergent minds to kind of collectivize and carve out a world that's better suited for us. Collaboration or activism, I don't know. I think my answer is it's all of these things, but I take the point that we can't force others to understand us. But alternatively, if I accept that, then what am I even doing with these? To me, accepting that feels a little like accepting defeat. And maybe that's where I'll end up. I think that's where a lot of us end up. I said, tongue-in-cheek, to someone on here recently that neurodivergent minds are like quantum particles that only become fixed when observed. And we hate to be observed because we want to exist in multiple states. But I've put myself out there with these to be observed, and I guess there's a little pressure on me now to kind of pick a state to exist in, to settle my demon into one spirit animal. But I still feel, as a grown-ass man, my spirit animal's still flitting from one thing to another, day on day, hour on hour, minute on minute. Do I have to pick a lane and swim in it? Do any of us? We've been hemmed in by a world not set up for us. It seems kind of crazy to hem ourselves in as well. Why can't we be all things to all our potential selves, but also be able to say every now and again, you know what, this is really, really hard. This is really, really tiring. So thanks for sticking with me. If you have, that's kind of my past thinking and my present thinking. The final chunk of what I want to talk about this week is the future, to help work out what it is I think we could be shooting for. It can be hard for us sometimes, or at least hard for me, to visualize a future state and then work towards it. From being able to design, sequence, and cook a meal, let alone contribute towards societal change, we often get overtaken by events and become frustrated because we feel out of control. There's a cheesy Greg Reed quote I really like, which I actually have printed out, but all too often forget to implement. You're probably familiar with it. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. It becomes reality. So with that in mind, this is my neurodivergent postcard from the future. Timestamp August 2048. Number 1, value. In August 2048, neurodivergent individuals in society are understood, valued, embraced, and empowered. Our strengths and capabilities are cherished and not stigmatized. We're an essential, celebrated aspect of the human experience. Not better, not worse, just different to the majority of humans. Number 2, education. In August 2048, schools and universities accommodate diverse learning styles as default. Different needs and abilities are recognized, nourished, and embraced. Teachers and professors are fully trained, empathetic, and understanding of different learning styles, with access to specialized programs to provide appropriate academic and emotional support tailored to the individual to allow us to thrive and excel based on ability and interests. 3, employment. In August 2048, employment opportunities for neurodivergent individuals are inclusive and abundant. The immense value, unique perspectives, problem-solving abilities, and creativity we bring to workplaces are recognized and actively sought after. Work environments have become specifically designed to be sensory-friendly, maximizing comfort, minimizing potential triggers to help get the best out of every employee by creating the right work conditions. Reasonable workplace adjustments and accommodations, such as flexible schedules, quiet spaces, support, and assistive technologies, are readily available, enabling neurodivergent individuals to flourish professionally. It has become seen as completely acceptable to dip in and out of paid employment, in and out of academia, in and out of creative endeavours like music, art, and writing, and in and out of periods of rest and recuperation. And that kind of flaky life will be completely okay and completely acceptable. Number 4, health. In August 2048, the links between neurodivergence and physical health conditions such as Ehlers-Danlos or inflammatory bowel disease are fully understood and dealt with holistically. Tailored individual dietary and nutritional advice is available. Easy to make, nutritious food is affordable and available alongside assistive tech for executive function to help with meal planning and health tracking. Comprehensive, joined up, holistic healthcare services are funded properly and tailored to the specific needs of individuals to help people thrive, be happy, and contribute to society. Mental health care, counselling, and therapy have become completely destigmatized, accessible, and free or affordable at the point of need. GPs, therapists, counsellors, life coaches, and psychiatrists all receive specialised training in neurodiversity as key to their professional qualifications to eliminate the mass ignorance we see today, enabling effective support at the point of need and reducing misdiagnosis to practically zero. In addition to medication, where it's appropriate, alternative anti-anxiety therapies such as art or music are readily available and recognised as valid additions. 5. Society as a whole. In August 2048, events and initiatives promoting awareness and acceptance of neurodivergence will be abundant, challenging any remaining societal prejudices and promoting empathy and understanding. Public spaces, public transport, and technology have all been designed to be accessible, to take into account the varied needs of neurodivergent individuals as default. Information signs will have visual communication elements as standard to help people navigate and know what to expect regardless of cognitive style. There are quiet zones in all public venues to minimize sensory overwhelm. There are specific neurodivergent friendly bars and restaurants with no loud music, as well as noise absorbing acoustics so that people can hear and think and actually converse on nights out. Public awareness of neurodiversity in society is close to 100% due to education in schools and workplaces, leading to increased understanding and inclusivity in every aspect of life. The 15% are embraced and celebrated for our strengths, not marginalized for our quirkiness and challenges. And in addition to wider community inclusion, neurodivergent specific support networks and recreation, online and offline, are everywhere, funded and supported, led, run and attended by neurodivergent people for neurodivergent people, fostering connection between those who actually understand each other and reducing isolation. And finally, number 6, systemic change. Advocacy and legislative measures are in place, fully understood and fully implemented to protect the rights of neurodivergent people and ensure we have access to the same rights and opportunities as their neurotypical counterparts. Neurodivergent voices, ideas and perspectives are actively sought out, heard and elevated, informing policy decisions and driving positive change for neurodivergent and neurotypical outcomes alike. And because of increased awareness, fewer and fewer neurodivergent people will slip through the net and try to operate themselves as if they were neurotypical, use the wrong instruction manual and force their brains to operate in ways it just doesn't. The strength of humanity rests inside our diversity. Different ethnicities, different genders, different cultural backgrounds, and different cognitive styles. In August 2048, neurodiversity is recognised and nurtured as a vital and valuable part of that collective strength. Right, Stephanie, cards on the table. That's my dream that's developed over the past year and a half since finding this out about myself and realising how many others are on the same stretch of water, if not the exact same boat. I've now given the dream an arbitrary date, August 2048, 25 years from now. So the dream's now a goal. It might be a naive dream and goal, an idealistic goal, but I'm writing it down and I'm saying it out loud. There must be lots of people that want this dream, right? Or maybe people just want to be left alone. I don't know. I don't have enough of a sense yet. Also, what I don't have is a plan. Plans are hard. I'm a civil servant. I should be good at this, but I don't know where to start. And it's in no way number one on the priority list for neurotypicals. I don't know how to get there. And I think I struggle with this because I think there are two options on how to get to that goal. And this is what's come up in the challenge I got recently. Basically, I think it can be summarized as push to integrate or push to separate. And what I mean by that is either advocate for understanding, or what many neurodivergent people seem to want, which is almost separate communities to the rest of the world, geared specifically for neurodivergent individuals. I understand why people would want the latter, but for me, I'm still tilting at the windmill of the former. And the reason why I'm tilting at that windmill, it's because picking that over raising mainstream awareness, to me, right now, feels like doing a disservice to all the people currently living inauthentically and miserably, undiagnosed neurodivergents struggling in a neurotypical world. To aim for a kind of shadow community or shadow society feels like we'd be leaving insane amounts of comrades behind. I'm very aware talk like this probably sounds batshit crazy to many people watching this, and maybe it is. Maybe it's a misplaced messiah complex or narcissism leading me to believe I can make a difference, or at least contribute to making some sort of difference on this scale. Some days I feel like I could take this on and be part of a colossal change, and the possibility excites me. And other days I feel like a breeze could shatter me into a million pieces, and I just want to sleep. So I don't have a plan. I don't have answers. But for this week, I just want to nail my postcard from the future to the mast and reiterate that cheesy motto that a dream written down with a date becomes a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan a plan backed by action becomes reality. So phase 1 tick. Yeah, thanks for sticking with this if you did, and see you next week.